Welcome today. This is just the first event post-lockdown that we can actually meet face-to-face again. It's a great opportunity to start these sorts of events again, which we were doing pre-lockdown. We had the benefit also pre-lockdown to work with the Town Council in terms of their question time events. But we felt that we should start these events in this is a great space, and it's a great space to invite people that haven't seen it into a new part of the town, which is at the heart of the town, the heart of the new town. So we will be doing more events, probably at the Forest Centre, but we'll also be using this event as well, and we'll probably alternate between the two so that we make sure that we reach out to as many people as we can. It's a wet, dreary day, so thank you very much for attending. It hasn't been a pleasant journey for many of you, and if you've walked, good on you, because you've braved the weather. So I will start just by a very brief presentation of what we're currently up to, where we're going to focus on our current work plan, what we're currently doing within the community and within the development, and then canter through that fairly quickly and then just open it up for a series of questions and answers. If you have further questions, please do contact us. You know, you may not think of a question today, but if you do think of a question tomorrow, email us and we'll come back to you pretty quickly. So our responsibility of the Whitetail and Bordon Regeneration Company is the former Prince Philip Barracks area, which is the coloured area on the plan. And obviously it stretches from Oakmoor enclosure, which is now open and well supported, through to where the new town centre is at the end of Bloods Lane and the former A325 High Street. And north, we go north as far as obviously the former Bosque area, right up to the borders of where the Barratts development starts, where David Wilson and Barratts work. So that's kind of our patch. But clearly, many of you will be concerned about other issues in the town. We do have relationships with Hampshire County Council and so on, and we hope can either answer some of those queries or pass on those queries to the relevant people to get answers back to you. So transport, for example, is a classic example. We don't control the roads, but we hopefully can influence the county in the way that they bring those roads forward. So our current planning permission is to develop over 15 years, 2,400 houses, a new town centre, new jobs, and many of these facilities are open and you see them, and many of you I'm familiar are using them. The first thing we're doing at the moment is just finalising all the construction for the new Asmodee facility, 134,000 square feet, warehouse distribution centre. It is their UK business, and it's headquartered here in Bordon. It's moved from Alton to Bordon. It's 150 jobs, and it's going to be a state-of-the-art Amazon-style facility. There's a big load of technical equipment going in for racking and moving huge volumes of goods. Asmodee are a big business. They do, just if you know about Pokemon, they do £40 million a year turnover just on Pokemon cards. You know, and that's only one of and they have 6 of the top 10 games in the UK. And that's behind Monopoly and Lego, obviously. So they're a big business, and for them to put their flag in Bordon is a good thing for jobs and the future of employment in the town.
How many people do they employ today, and how many are they going to employ there, and are they going to shut down Alton completely?
They'll move from Alton, yes.
Yeah, well, how many people will they bring from Alton?
So there's about 100, their workforce is just over 100 at the moment, and they will increase it to about 150. So that's what Asmodee, and you know, we were bold enough, and Andy Tree was there, thank you, with a spade, trying to dig what was actually a concrete underneath there. So I think they all dug the wrong place, but never mind. We'll start there. So the other focus of what we're looking at is obviously the town centre, the next bits of the town centre. So we've all started to see what the shed has to offer, and there's more to come, obviously. And you've got the public squares and you've got the parade squares that are open, but obviously the rest of the town centre is vitally important for the town. And we're working hard to get our planning application in November, early November. And that will include what's shown as C, B, A, E on that plan, And we will come and talk about the Health Hub because I'm sure many of you want to know about the Health Hub. The town centre, in massing terms and scale, this is the sort of scale with the Morrisons being a kind of large single footprint store, a car park obviously next to it. We've got residential blocks framing the development on the Havana Way side, on Budds Lane and onto the old High Street in Block A, and they go up to about 5 stories. And you've got the new mess hall next to where the shed is in a similar style. So what you can see here is the dates that are related to that.
So this is a big construction project. It'll be about £100 million all up. In terms of sequencing, the Sergeant's Mess will be first off the blocks probably, and will probably also be the first to be delivered. We've got some better images of that as we go through the presentation, so I won't labour it. Morrison's, the car park and Block A will be next. Morrison's will probably open end of first quarter 23. And then we work in sequence around the development. Next will be Block B, then Block H, which will include the Health Hub, and finally we finish up with Block E. We've appointed a construction partner, BAM Construction Limited, who are what's known as a Tier 1 contractor. So that means they are probably as capable as anyone in the marketplace to deliver a project such as this. So we've been working with them now for 3 months with a view to starting on site spring next year. Well, the takeover isn't concluded, and in all probability it won't influence the development ambition of the company.
They keep telling it. I mean, we're obviously signing up with them, so and their lawyers are working very hard to get this over the line before Christmas. So, phasing-wise, that's just a phasing plan. The green 1A is what we've obviously delivered to date, and as Chris just outlined, the kind of sequence 1B and then move round in a counterclockwise way. So these are some of the computer-generated images. This is the facade of the former Sergeant's Mess onto the town park. So if you've been in the town park where the shed is, it's looking back on the current facade. So that facade is obviously being retained and enhanced. And with the new, we're keeping the same roof, but a new roof, but with new materials. So it's the same elevation as it was before. And we're keeping obviously the windows that you see on the top floor, and we're enhancing the ground floor on the wings on both sides. And then we're opening up the middle so that people can move in and out of the mess hall into the event space much easier. So that's a fairly good impression of what it will look like from the town park. So that bit is similar to what is there, and it keeps the spirit of the old in the new, but what's behind it is new. And so that's indoors. We want to create the space for a large events area, which can be, on the one hand, used a bit like a box park in Croydon or some of those spaces for where the restaurants can spill out onto the central courtyards. But we will have a stage, and it will have a projector, and it will enable films to be shown. It will enable performances to be shown, and close and events that you ticketed events. So it will seat up to 300 people, is that right? For staged events. Similar seating to this, which will this seating here is a similar example of the seating we can put in the mess hall. When you press the button, the seating goes right to the back of the wall. So you've got, when it's not in use for seated events, the seating pushes back to the wall, and then you've got a big space in the middle. So that's how the seating will work for events, and you'll have a stage at one end. So it's a similar space actually to this one in terms of scale. This is probably slightly bigger. This is the town square, the upper town square as it is now. You recognise the tree, that's the red oak tree in the middle. On the right of the picture would be the shed, and what you're looking at is from where you're now standing and where hoarding is you've got the entrance to the mess hall, and you've got restaurants that go along the ground floor, and on the top floor you've got bars and a smokehouse restaurant, and kids play is going to be upstairs, and a coffee shop, an arts gallery, and on the right hand side towards the town park is the new museum which is going to be delivered as well, and some offices. So it's a large building with a lot going on in it, but it's going to be more restaurant type format rather than, at the moment the shed is towards sort of street food and street food experience. This is going to be more restaurant format experiences, and obviously an indoor theatre space as well, performance space.
How many lifts will it have?
It will have one. One lift. One lift.
Will it impact the different types of eateries, but there's only a certain number of people in the town? You're going to lose business from the shed to go over to here?
No, because it's a different experience. So we're putting different food and beverage experiences, and the appeal of this will be to obviously a wider community than just the town itself. Even though the town is growing, the town centres will depend on visitors as it does now. So we've got lots of people coming in from, largely at the moment, a lot of people coming in from Farnham, a fair few from Alton, less so from Peaceville and so on. But we're trying to promote this town centre to a wider reach of people regionally to really put the town centre on the map. This is down Guadalupe. This is the walk that you will have from the old High Street, and this is called Guadalupe Way or Guadalupe Street, with Morrison's in the distance and the residential block at the end, with the mess hall on your left-hand side there. And we've got 5 shops on the right-hand side too, so retail shops, and another 2 at the end there. So there's, in addition to the mess hall, which I've just talked about, there's another 9 shops, retail, which will be opened, and that's convenience, what we call convenience retail. So things that people need in the town. There's bound to be a hairdresser's, and that sort of thing. Maybe an estate agent, because so many inquiries from estate agents at the moment. It's ridiculous, but generally speaking, you will have convenience shopping, things that people actually want to be able to go out and get at convenience, which is on hand, and not clothes and fashion, because clothes and fashion are centred either in Portsmouth or Guildford or further afield at Basingstoke. That's where people tend to go at the moment.
Will there be a bank?
No, there won't be a bank. We've asked. The one we've engaged most with in terms of a bank is Metro Bank, and Nationwide are the 2 banks we've been talking to. But the bank format at the moment is not something. Banks aren't opening new banks, as you probably are aware. Yeah.
And we are needing.
Yeah. So Metro Bank are interested, but that's driven by the business need locally, because there are a lot of businesses that use Metro Bank. It's a popular business bank actually, and that's why they might be interested, but they've not said yes. Pardon?
You mentioned 2. Which is the other bank?
We've engaged with Nationwide a couple of times, but we've approached. I think was it Lloyd's that was in the town, or I can't remember.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and they just frankly said no. So Morrison's. This is the entrance to the Morrison's. It's their sort of new regional format store. Working very closely with them. Obviously, it's a new signature store for them, and it's their modern. What they have as they've developed a marketplace format, which is then starting to roll out nationally, and this will be one of the first marketplace Morrison stores in the country. This is the old A325, and this also shows what we called Arrival Square, and it will have the bus stops or the Voca stops, whichever way we go with this, and it will have the bike links through the town, and the routes linking into the green grid, green loop, which Bruce will touch on later, I think. So we're coming on to Whitetail Chase, which is one of your questions. I'll let Bruce take that on.
Excuse me, before you go,
Yeah.
how many parking spaces are you going to have for that town?
There's 800 and
800, phase one, approximately 800.
Is it going to be multi-storey?
There will be multiple.
there's a 300 odd multi-story.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Bruce. I work for the Whitetail and Bordon Regeneration Company in James's team. I'm just going to touch on Whitetail Chase. Some of you will know that there's a consultation started on this potential development site on Monday of this week, which is going to run until the 11th of October. For those of you that don't know where Whitetail Chase is, to the left-hand side of the screen is Camp Road, and then the grey boxes you can see in the top left-hand corner is the Tesco's and the fuel station, and it's set back from Camp Road, and you can see the buildings in the middle, the existing buildings in the middle. It was a previous Christian retreat that is now vacant, has been vacant for some time, and we are looking at opportunity to bring it forward for residential development with a planning application later this year. We're looking at 54 homes in total, mixture of some apartments and houses, of which, as you can see up there, 14 of those will be affordable. The key thing you'll note is the amount of woodland and trees there are there, and we are very much approaching this from a sort of what's called a landscape-led approach. So we're thinking about the trees. There are a lot of specimen trees there, like Wellingtonians and other cypress trees, and we're looking to build those into the design. So these are some of the shots of the existing site as it is. You can see it's a bit of a hodgepodge of different sorts of building from different dates.
That building's not there now.
Sorry?
That is not there yet.
No, all those buildings are there. So the main building there, and you can see the red brick there, is the sort of chapel, which is connected to the main building, and then there's a coach house, an old coach house, and also another building called Acorn House as well, which is more modern. I'll come on to questions in a minute if I may. I'll just finish these. So this is the proposed layout at the moment. It's pretty high level. You can see that many of the trees, the woodland around the edge has been retained, as you've seen in the aerial photo. And then also the significant trees like the Wellingtonians, the oak and cypress, which are denoted by the large tree-shaped blobs you can see with the dotted lines around them. And then the layout of the development stretches around through the existing buildings, which will be demolished, and then new houses built in the open space in the middle. You can also see from that there will be trails for paths for people to walk around, and also a connection down to Camp Road so people can walk up to the town centre or Tesco's or wherever they need to go. And also there will be associated play areas as well for the people that live there. These are a couple of watercolours. This is the first one, just to show the style of housing that we're hoping to promote, very much in keeping with what you see elsewhere in Hampshire, with a slightly more modern take. And this picture shows the central green space with housing around the edge of it, and you can see the amount of trees that will be retained which is shown here in this watercolour. And then the other style we're looking at here, again a bit of a contrast with the red brick, is looking at black cladding, which we've been working with the architect on, which actually shows off the trees and the greenness of this site, which we feel will be really shows to really promote the Wellingtonians and the trees that are there.
Why don't you put a bit of tile hanging on it or something? Do you want to chart opposite?
Sorry?
Why don't you do tile hanging or something?
So
make it look nice instead of that's going to look horrible.
Well, it's down to personal opinion, and this has still got to go through the planning process. So there is another stage of consultation, but there is a mixture. So there's three main types. There's this type here, which is, as you can see, sort of black style cladding. There are tile hung houses as well. And then there's also, James, if you wouldn't mind jumping back, So you can see the tile hung houses there with the red brick underneath, and then there's a third design which is red brick, entirely red brick.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Or
you're not finished?
Can I take them now? Yeah, sure.
Right. Will Acorn House be demolished if you're going to...
It will, yes.
Acorn House, right.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why the proposed care home on that site did not go ahead?
That wasn't part of any planning application that we were involved with. So it was refused. I would have to look at the East Hampshire District Council planning portal, because on there it will tell you why it was refused.
Right, okay, because that would be a fantastic area for a site for a care home, not so much housing estate.
The District Council considered it, and for whatever reason with the applicant decided that it was refused. So we've gone for housing.
Okay.
We've got a requirement, and we will be delivering a care home in right near the town centre. I can refer you back to where that's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll come to that at the end. I need to put the plan on.
Oh, yes, good.
Probably not there. It's going to be near the town centre. That's where the East Hants District Council want it to go.
So will there be a nursing home care home on where the Boston site development?
Not now, no.
Oh, so that's all changed.
Yeah.
Bruce, is the trust still over the land?
No.
Is it acquired by the regeneration company?
Yes.
Yes. It's been acquired by us, yes. Sure.
Right, Bruce, you referred to Camp Road twice.
Yeah.
Camp Road stops at Bugs Lane. It's actually off Bordon High Street.
Okay, Bordon High Street. I know the road through the centre of town's got 3 names. Apologies, I don't know all the residential streets. Bill, can you point out Jacaranda Road?
I can see our house. I can see that.
So
at the top, you can see I've got a red van.
yeah. So
on our house is opposite that red van.
So Jacaranda Road is in the north. You've got the existing Tesco's, which is on the left-hand side, which is those grey boxes. And then you've got Oldfield Close, which is the housing, the small parcel of housing to the south of Tesco's. And it's that road that gives you access to Whitetail Chase. Forgive me, what are the names of the roads at the bottom? Condy Way is the road that heads round to Forest Road and then Forest Community Centre.
In that car park on the bottom right is the Chase.
Yes, so that's the Chase Hospital in the bottom right. So thank you, Anne. So you've got Chase Hospital down in the bottom corner, Tesco's in the top left, Oldfield Close, and then Jacaranda Road in the north. Does that help in terms of referencing? Thank you for your help, everybody.
How close are the new buildings going to come to the buildings that are already there where we live?
Sure.
Jacaranda.
So
Compromising our privacy that we've had for
30 years.
So through planning, there's a lot of requirements about how houses are seen from inside the site, but also with existing residents. We've been very careful to protect what will be a buffer around the site. At the moment, there's a lot of Scots pine that form that edge with a lot of rhododendron and laurel and holly.
Laurel.
Yeah. So through planning and our proposals, we will seek to manage that and replace and strengthen that woodland edge, because what happens with the rhododendron, they get very leggy and they fall over. So actually your view will actually get worse as time goes on. And that's particularly important.
Our privacy is protected.
Yes, absolutely. So planning will ensure that there's privacy. There's also, we have offset the houses away from the edge by 20 to 30 metres, in some cases further than that. The other thing is that Whitetail Chase, for those of you who know, is on a bit of a hill. So it's quite an elevated position, which actually means the views through aren't at the same level, which gives you another opportunity through the design of the site to ensure privacy is maintained by both people in the new Whitetail Chase and also those people living around.
So have you applied for this yet or not?
No. So we're required to do consultation, which is what we're doing at the moment.
I've got a thing at home to fill in.
Yeah, and then that ends on the 11th of October, and then we have to absorb those comments, make any changes, and then we make a formal application, and then there's the usual, is it 13-week? 13-week planning consultation process, which will be led by the district council.
Could there be anything onto the out to the high street around the roundabout or traffic lights going in? Because if you've got 54 homes going in there, that could be quite a lot of people trying to get in and out. So what is actually a reason to do?
So we are doing traffic assessments for that road, and at the moment we don't envisage any mitigation because it's not, because it was a site that was in active use. There was a certain amount of traffic using it anyway, so we feel with Hampshire County Council that no mitigation is required. But again, that will be tested further through the planning process.
Thanks, Bruce.
I'll give you a very quick run through. So we describe Voca as a taxi service for the price of a bus, and we were motivated to do this because of the dreadful bus service that I'm sure you all suffer from. So we're obligated under our Section 106 agreement to pay something like £4.3 million into a public transport solution. Regrettably, the County Council don't have a public transport solution, so we decided to look at this a slightly different way. And what we elected to do was to build what's known as a DRT service, so that means demand responsive transport. Essentially it means when you want a vehicle, you summon it either via an app or via a call centre and it comes to your house. So the plan is that this will operate within a 5-mile radius. Additionally, it will serve the local train stations. So again, there's a lot of, I won't say noise, but there's a lot of interest in bringing a station to Bordon. Bruce actually is the expert on this, and I won't drag you into that debate, Bruce, but rather than bring the station, what Voca tries to do is to bring people to the stations around the community. So it sort of looks at the problem from another direction.
Does it mean, does it stand for?
Voca, it means call.
Oh, does it?
Call, as in call. It's Latin for call.
Ah!
So we have formed a commercial arrangement, a sort of a partnership with AMK, who you will be familiar with. And the plan will be that Voca operates for 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We've developed a mobile application. So for those of you that are familiar with Uber, conceptually it's very similar to that. So you have the app, you dial your car via the app, you get an acknowledgement and the car arrives on your doorstep, picks you up, takes you to where you want to go. So it's a very innovative concept, and to my knowledge, there isn't an equivalent of Voca anywhere in the country. So,
Is there a reason for that?
well, yes, there is a reason for it. So Uber concentrates on large metropolitan areas where there are lots and lots, hundreds of thousands of people. So their business model depends upon volume. Voca doesn't, and obviously in a town of this size, the volumes are much, much smaller. So it requires a degree of subsidy in some form. So we have been engaging with the County Council probably over the last 2 years, Bruce, maybe slightly longer than that. And the County Council have regrettably pushed back on us. So we've taken the view, okay, that being the case, we'll pursue it on our own. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So our plan is to roll Voca out on a soft launch basis, so it won't be the fully operational service, hopefully before Christmas. So you'll start to see the Voca branded vehicles. There's a lot of testing to do with Voca, mostly to do with the operation of the app, because what we don't want to do is roll it out too quickly and then find that the app doesn't work. So we've got to be confident that it works. Could I just finish and then I'll come straight back to you. So that with a view then to starting Voca on a relatively modest basis, probably in early 2022. And if things go as we hope they will, we will increase the number of cars, the number of drivers, progressively over the next couple of years in particular.
Are you confident subsidising the taxi firms?
They won't subsidise, so we will have a commercial arrangement with them. We will pay them for providing the service. That they provide all the operations, they deal with all the stuff that goes with running a transport operation. We're not experts at running cars or buses, they are, so we rely upon their expertise. So we actually think this is going to be a huge benefit for the community. I mean, it is a major priority for us. And we're putting a lot of effort into it. So, sure, let me take your question.
Two things. What happens when your money runs out? Right? And the other thing is it going to be exactly the same as the Whitetail Bordon bus? It ran around for so many years, and all of a sudden it just disappeared.
No,
And the other thing is, not everybody on the internet, especially the older people.
okay, well, let me take that point first. So if we go back to the... So it doesn't just depend on a mobile app or the internet, there will be a call centre as well. So we're very keen to ensure that this covers all sections of the community. What happens if our money runs out? Well, we're in a mess, basically, as we all would be. So, and that's why we're taking enormous trouble to make sure that we can make this pay. We start small, we build it, we get interest in the community, and we grow it incrementally.
You said you had £4 million.
We have to pay £4 million
No.
to the county council.
Yeah.
That's not for VOCA.
Isn't it?
Takes on, then you've got lots of us in the town centre, and obviously you've got the taxis to get us to X, Y, Z. That's more vehicles on the road. Where's the local depots? Looking at that, they're all there. So you're going to have to be relative to the town centre.
So the vehicles will be electric, we hope. There will be some hybrid vehicles too. Bear in mind that by partnering with AMK, that they have substantial facilities of their own already. So, and those facilities will include parking, maintenance, fueling. So with them, we're sure we can find a solution to that particular issue.
So at what point does that just become a proof of concept that you need public transport like buses, trains, etc.? Or should we just go straight to that?
So we're at the proof of concept point now. That's why we need to test bed, we soft launch.
Should be evolving on that though.
Sorry.
It doesn't become feasible to use cars anymore. You should use buses to reduce traffic, congestion, things like that.
So one of the big points about reducing traffic is providing a public transport service that people want to use. Because without that, people use their cars. That's one of the drivers for this.
Using a car.
Sorry?
Is that not what that is, just using a car?
Yeah, it is using a car, but it's a public transport offering. So we know from surveying people that if this service is good and it works, there's a good chance that people will reduce their car ownership. So that then starts to address the reduction point that you're getting at.
And you mentioned electric points. Have you planned in electric points into the new town centre?
Yes, so we've already built 40 within the town centre, and we will be building another.
They're already there.
I've used them, yeah.
Oh, well done.
They're outside the leisure centre as well.
Oh, right, is that by the disabled parking bit?
Yes.
That's good, but you can't park there then, 'cause it says disabled parking.
Well, it's not disabled, it's obviously.
Well, I thought they were when I walked past.
Well, it's a mixed use in that part of the car park, but outside the leisure centre, the disabled bays are to the left. There's a single bay that's not charged, doesn't charge post in, and then there are 12 bays served by 6 posts, I believe.
Yes.
They work very well.
So there are also EV chargers within the parade square. They're not operational yet, but they will be by the early part of next year.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
This is a bus service, sorry, a taxi service for the price of a bus. What do the taxi drivers think about that?
That's what I was getting at.
So historically, they've been fairly anti, to be perfectly honest with you.
I can imagine.
Yeah. But we're not looking to compete with taxi drivers. We're looking to provide a public transport service.
As a taxi service.
Taxi service for the price of a bus, yes. So it's a taxi service to the extent that cars come to your home.
Will the cars be shared? In other words, will you have shared journeys if they're going in similar directions?
Initially, no, but over time, yes. So we'll be looking to supplement the cars with what would be 12-seater vehicles.
I think there is room for VOCA as well as the taxis. I think it's not a zero-sum game.
Yeah.